Shanghai was home to a diverse polyglot population, a mix of races and linguistic groups. Making up a small yet visible number of the population, foreigners were often referred to as the Shanghailanders. For almost 100 years, Shanghai had been home to a small, close-knit Sephardi community of Baghdadi Jews, many having followed the Sassoons from Baghdad after the 1850s.
My grandfather came from Allahabad in India and joined Sassoons. My father worked with them for a while, and I worked for Sir Victor Sassoon for a while until I went into business for myself.
My father was born in Shanghai as well in 1903, and his parents came there from Baghdad with the Sassoon family. They followed them to Bombay and then on to Shanghai for commercial purposes. Grandfather was the accountant for David Sassoon, and their offices were the only ones closed on Saturdays in those days, and being an observant Jew is very important.
Other Jewish communities also immigrated to Shanghai. Ashkenazi Jews arrived in the early 20th century from Russia, following the anti-Jewish pogrom of 1905, and later the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917. Their ranks were swelled further in the early 1930s by a steady stream of Russian Jews from Harbin, fleeing the turmoil that resulted from the Japanese invasion of Manchuria. Coming from different social stratas, the Ashkenazi and Sephardi communities rarely mixed.
Now, my mother, Riva, for Rebecca Soloduhin, was born in Simferopol, Crimea, Russia, and she was the youngest of 6. Her family fled the Tsarist pogroms in Russia at the turn of the 19th century. She was only 9 months old when they took the Trans-Siberian Railway to Manchuria, Vladivostok, and Harbin. After her father's death in 1917, she and her mother and youngest brother went back to Shanghai to visit one of her married sisters who moved and lived there, and there met my father. It was love at first sight. However, Dad's father forbade the marriage because my mother was Ashkenazi, not a member of their clan, and Dad was the eldest son of a prominent Sephardic family. However, they did get married, and none of my father's family attended his wedding, nor were any of his family allowed to have anything to do with him until I was born a year later, their first grandchild. So I like to think that I was the cause of the reconciliation. And I do dub myself Ashkefardic.
Dubbed a paradise for adventurers, its visa-free port made Shanghai a haven for all comers. With its rich trade, Shanghai attracted budding tycoons from Europe, America, the Middle East, and South Asia. Industrialists quickly joined the ranks of taipans, bankers, and compradors as the port's wealthiest men.
My father's background is, his name is Ellis Thomas Basha, and he was born in New York City. And he went to school in New York, and then he also went to school in Lebanon to study Arabic. And since he could speak many languages, he was sent to Egypt during World War I, and then he went to Shanghai, and he instituted the linen industry in Shanghai. And then he imported all the linens from Switzerland and from Firenze, Italy, and then he embroidered them in Swatow. He had 175 workers, and they embroidered them, and they sold these linens that were exquisite all over the world. And President Franklin Delano Roosevelt was one of his customers.